Welcome to Tellypathic, your visit to the world of episodic telly with a strong backbone of Star Trek. We are two hosts who are mad about telly, Mark and Gary. Hi, Gary.
Hey Mark, how's it going, man?
Not bad, not bad. And indeed, we are doing Star Trek. Your choice, this one.
Yeah, it was indeed.
Do you want to tell everyone what you picked? And
Yeah,
why? And
so
why even? Yeah?
and why? Yeah, that's probably more interesting. I picked Star Trek TNG season 4, episode 2. Family.
Right, this direct follow on from the epic Best of Both Worlds season spanning thing, right?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah. So for as to why, right? So I think Best of Both Worlds, part 1 and 2, probably for me, some of the most peak Star Trek, right?
yeah.
For me.
Haven't really got an argument against that.
Yeah.
Kind of agree.
And
Yeah.
those always blow my socks off. And it kind of breaks the episodic rule a little bit, right? Like, I feel like this is almost a three-parter.
I
Um,
agree. Apparently there was plans to make Best of Both Worlds a three-parter, but I think the whoever was the showrunner said, nah, no, we're not
yeah,
doing that.
it's
But they kind of
almost like
almost did it, right?
we're
Almost did.
kind of doing a reset a little bit in this episode. It's like a break from the first half. You could imagine the first three seasons of TNG, and then the next three seasons of TNG is split down the middle by this episode, and it's almost like a. So I guess if you were being mean about it, you'd call this a filler episode. But I don't think it is at all. I think it's a
No,
nice
I
reset.
think yeah, no. Well, I think we had to have Picard processing what happened to him somewhat.
Yes.
Um, and in fact, his processing of the Borg just continues through TNG, doesn't it? Films and
Yeah.
shows, and even the more recent Picard series, certainly season 3 of that.
Yep. Yep.
It never goes away, does it? The Borg, what the Borg did to him,
That's right.
and
And
how he feels about it.
if there's any listeners who somehow don't know what we're talking about and haven't seen Best of Both Worlds, I mean, you should go watch it. Um, it's the end of season 3 and it's the beginning of season 4. It's like it's the famous, cliffhanger for Star Trek that everybody had to wait for to find out the resolution to. Awesome, awesome stuff. So if you haven't seen it,
Yeah,
you should go
well,
watch it right now.
there was a possibility Patrick Stewart was leaving the show, right? And that was
Yeah.
kind of baked into the storyline. Essentially, he gets taken over by the Borg and becomes part of the Borg. And
Spoilers, yeah.
yeah,
But yeah,
well,
yeah, we'll
yeah,
talk about that. I
yeah.
was joking. It's like
When
a
you say
20 years.
people should go and watch it, they should go and watch all of TNG. That's basically what I think we're saying.
Yeah,
Personally.
I agree. But like, I think for this episode of the podcast,
Mm.
yeah, we're going to be mostly talking about,
Yeah.
at least for Picard's side of the story,
Yeah, I
spoilers
mean,
and all
Picard's got two major things in this. I don't know if I'm getting the spoilers. Two major things where he has to process trauma
that.
in a quite significant way that is cursed. There's probably more, which is this and the one where he gets captured and interrogated.
Oh, yeah.
Concerning the five lights and the four lights, all that sort of stuff. Um, uh,
Fork handles.
Fork
Yeah, that one.
handles, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, this one was structured quite interestingly, and it's a very memorable episode. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember it distinctly. And every time I watch it, it's like, oh yeah, I remember this. It's never I don't remember this bit. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
However,
definitely.
it's Picard is definitely story A. Uh,
Yeah.
and there are basically three stories going on within this episode, all concerning family, right?
Yes.
I'd
Yes.
say the B plot is Worf and his parents, and the
Yep.
C plot is Wesley and it's memories
His
of his
dad.
father, right? That feels how it is, and it's interestingly, Wolf's story is somewhat about a trauma of sorts, isn't it? About
Yeah.
his Wolf had to accept a sort of a shame within the Klingon Empire to keep everything peace.
The status quo.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but publicly he's been shamed, and
Hmm.
he has to live with his dishonor, as he puts it. Um, So there's a touchdown, even though he did it for honourable reasons, right? We all know that as the
Yeah.
viewers, but as far as Klingons are concerned, Worf's, the pits.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, he already was, right? And
Yes.
and and
Yes.
now he's even worse. Like he's officially dishonored at this point.
Yes.
It's not just like, yeah.
But it all works out. It all works out.
Yeah, it works out later.
Eventually. Yeah, so wow, so we're beginning of season 4. Ouch, I'm not sure how to do this one because basically there's 3 stories. Should we talk about the minor ones first, or rather than interwar
Yeah, I
them,
think so. I think
and
this is a
then
good
talk about
idea.
the main one, right?
Yeah, I mean the general. Yeah, I guess one of the reasons why I picked this episode was because I think we will talk about um the Borg incident. Those 2 episodes. I will probably do an episode to cover both of those.
I agree. Yeah, yeah, that seems
Um,
fine. Yeah.
we're just going to, right? It's like one of my favorite things of Star
Oh
Trek.
yeah.
But I wanted to talk about this episode because I feel like this is just as important to me as to why I like TNG. Um, and and the events of that and the aftermath of that all come out in this episode, and we get into characters and character development that like is easily skipped over or is like dropped into episodes now and again. But this is a whole episode that's just focused on our characters. There's no science fiction really.
No.
It's just character writing. And again, it focused on family as the episode's
Yeah,
title.
yeah, in all 3 strands as well. Let's talk about the least of the plots, and I don't want to diminish them. And I think they're all memorable.
Yeah,
I
screen
remembered all
time
of them.
wise, there's
Yeah,
this they yeah
but
structured that way.
the Wesley and um, Doctor Crusher stuff is the shortest screen time, and it's probably the easiest to sort of just discuss.
Yeah,
Essentially, the Doc's found a chest of old stuff that I think she says something like, I'd forgotten this, or maybe I just wanted to forget it, of all stuff from her husband, who, passed away many years ago. But she also found a little, like, I don't know, like a USB drive or whatever the equivalent is,
yeah,
um, of a message her husband made when Wesley was a little while after he was born. And she said he intended to do lots of these, but there was no opportunity in the end. Uh,
yeah,
and she's not sure whether even to give it to Wesley, right? And Troy's there, sort of trying to help her talk it through.
mm,
Troy
yeah,
figures in this one and Picard's one, right? She figures in both.
yes.
Sort of helping people. Not so much in Wolves though, really. Um,
Nope.
but yeah. So, do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I think so. I think as well, it's worth mentioning the impetus for this is that after the Borg attack, the ship is crippled, so they are repairing it and they're docked over Earth.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
so that's why they're docked at Earth, and that's why there's downtime.
And
That's why
that's
there's
why Wolf's parents can visit.
that's it. Wolf's
From
parents come
Earth.
visit,
Yeah,
and Crusher gets a bunch of stuff sent from Earth to the ship. That's where the chest has come from. It's not just lying around.
yeah.
And then she's forgotten that, oh, yeah, Jack made this recording. I think it's cool. Like, so obviously, Jack Crusher, we know that he passed away. He was ex Starfleet. I don't think we ever see it or.
It's probably out there somewhere. In a book or something about what
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
happened.
the details. I know that in Picard season 3, it came up again because Doctor Crusher was obviously
Yeah,
that was a thing, right?
yeah.
There was some of that going on, but yeah, it's an interesting it's a difficult subject, right? Um,
Yeah, well, essentially, he gives a message which is along the lines of, when I look in your face, I see all the people I've loved. I can see your mother. I can see my parents. All of those accumulation of you, and you've got to take that with you. Which is a nice message.
Yeah, I thought it was cleverly done, and it's kind of brutal, right? Because it's clearly like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's kind of doing this for the first time.
Yeah.
The message he gives is kind of like you say, it's heartfelt, but it's a kind of nothing message, right? It's not like a closing.
No.
It's not something you can, take this and okay, I've lost my dad, but at least I've got this really strong message. It's just kind of like a young guy who doesn't really know what he's talking about, and he obviously intends to make more. And I thought that came through in the performance and in the writing. It was quite a sort of grim moment, right? Because obviously the program ends and Wesley like tries to grab him out
Yeah.
of probably instinct, right? And yeah, it's like a heartfelt moment of like, yeah, damn,
Yeah.
that's rough.
Yeah. 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 Um, However, it is the shortest of the three segments. Works well with the others. I think
Yeah,
they all
I think
complement each other.
it gives
Um,
good context to Doctor Crusher. I think Wesley doesn't say anything the whole episode,
no, he
uh,
barely speaks, doesn't
which
he?
is to the betterment of it, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's mean. I
Oh
don't mind Wesley as much as some. I just
no, but
think
I think it works. I think it
unfortunate
works.
writing that he became Space Jesus. That wasn't Will Wheaton's fault, really.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
But like, yeah, there was no goofy lines or anything, right? He just, you know,
yeah.
the silence worked. Basically, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
without being too
Sorry,
mean.
I'm thinking of some of the episodes where the Wesley and his
Stop.
mum's talking
No,
just
no, no. I
hilarious.
know what you're
We'll
talking
get to
about.
those at some point.
You're gonna
Uh,
pick that episode. I know
I am
you
gonna
are.
pick one. One day I will pick that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave the listeners wondering
To
what the heck we're
guess.
talking about.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
listeners
we'll
have to
cover it
guess what
eventually.
episode we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Wolf's one. Yeah, this was a significantly more time on this, and I quite liked this.
Hmm. Yeah.
Though it has a very but effective sort of resolution. Um,
Yeah.
but essentially, it's could have been written a little better to show you how why Worf has finally says what he says, which is, I'm really glad you're here. Though he spent the whole episode kind of, you know,
Annoyed about it. It was seemingly
peeved,
annoyed, right? Yeah.
peeved, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like the parents quite a bit in this, and I quite liked their interaction with O'Brien, even though it was fairly brief. I was sort of chuckling away. I want to see O'Brien's parents now, frankly, because he
What,
mentions them.
chasing the nurse around
Yeah, I want
the
to see. O'Brien's dad sounds like Sid James from Carry On films to me. That's what I thought of. As soon as he
Yeah.
said, "Oh yeah, we caught him chasing the nurse around the bay," it's like, wow, 24th century then.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
like Kirkship, doesn't it? So
Yeah, but yeah, quite well acted. I do like the actors that plays parents quite well. Um,
yeah.
I think they're pretty solid, and it's funny. There's this theme of your parents always kind of embarrass you when they turn up, right? That's
Yeah, yeah.
because Worf's all about Klingon parents do not visit
While you're on
Klingon,
duty, yeah.
while they're on duty, and is it Riker that says, "Well, this ain't a Klingon ship. This is a
Yeah.
Federation ship.
Yeah, that's right.
So get over yourself," kind of thing.
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
so and then Worf's kind of a bit peeved, kind of avoid him. I did like the fact he has a very unusual chair in his
I
What's it
noticed
called?
that too. Yeah, it was like an
Yeah, it's
art piece, but then he sat
basically
on it.
balls instead of a back and the arms. It's balls at different heights, right?
It's so strange.
Um, and he was just looking at himself in the mirror, wasn't it? Which is really
Well,
weird.
it's because his mum mentions that his hair's long. His hair
Yes,
looks
that's
longer,
right.
and then he's
Yeah,
in the mirror checking it
it's so
out.
unwarf-like though to be like
Yeah.
preening. That's Riker's game, right?
Uh,
Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, so I mean, it takes up a fair bit of the episode. This,
Yeah, it's interesting because he doesn't talk about them. He's never talked about them.
no. And
And
they're saying, we heard you needed us, so we came. Our boy needed us. It's not about
yeah,
honor, it's about you, us being here and showing you how we feel.
yeah.
Um,
And it's cool because it's something again that we don't talk about because Worf doesn't talk about is
no.
his growing up, right?
Yeah.
Growing up under in a human family on Earth, or is it Earth? He's definitely
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's
Well,
around other humans, right?
his dad was, his dad here was in the Starfleet as well as
Yeah,
a sort of,
he was a
not an
chief.
officer, because he goes on about who'd have thought an old, warhorse like me would have been raised a son who'd become an officer and things
Yeah,
like that.
he was a non-commissioned, right? He was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
chief was,
Which
yeah,
is interesting because that really isn't much talked about in Star Trek. Who's the officers and who's not, and all that, isn't it? Everyone's kind of
yeah.
that sort of enforcement of protocols is not apparent in Star Trek. That there's a big difference between officers and the rest.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing is that's the joke everyone makes is that like the chief is the most qualified non-commissioned officer of all time.
Yeah.
Because like obviously all the stuff he does on the Enterprise and then all the stuff he does at DS9, and
Yeah,
he
it got me
never gets
wondering,
promoted.
is Scotty an officer? I was trying to work it out. He
Yeah,
must
yeah,
be.
he
He
is because
must be.
he's fourth.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's fourth in command. Yeah,
yeah, because he often takes command, doesn't
that's
he?
right.
But yeah, it was kind of interesting and kind of fun. Now, watching this, it always strikes me that Spock and Worf have a common sort of theme, which is, well, I'll start with Spock. Spock is half Vulcan, but he's more Vulcan. He's more truer to the spirit of Vulcan than many Vulcans we see later on, right?
Yes, yeah, which
Some of
yeah
them are
we've seen
shit
through.
bags, right? They're underhanded snakes, right? They can
Yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah.
Spock isn't. Spock isn't like that.
Hmm.
And now it occurred to me, Worf is almost more Klingon than some Klingon. He's about honor, but when you actually get into Vulcan Klingon society, they can be underhand and snaky bastards
Yeah,
too, right?
yeah.
So yeah, so it made me think, when you're alone on something, you really try to focus. I'm going to be the best of this I can be. It's almost
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
people who work overseas, if you're English, work overseas, you become kind of more English, and stick to patterns of Englishness that you probably wouldn't if you were in
Right, like
England. Do you know what
ordering
I
a
mean?
tea instead
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
coffee or
Always
something.
having like afternoon tea or things like that, right?
Yeah, maybe.
It's a touch of that
Interesting.
about it, yeah. But yeah, um,
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it
I
because it
definitely
framed.
like the Guinan talking to his parents too about prune juice. I like the
Yeah,
prune
why
juice.
didn't you give him prune juice? Yeah, what the hell?
And this, what the mother says kind of reinforces what I was just saying. She keeps, oh, he insisted I make Klingon food
Yeah, he didn't
and
have
all
any
this.
human food.
He
He
did
refused
wouldn't
it
have
all.
human food and all this that, and the other. So that kind of, that's, I think, what made me start thinking along those lines about, how Spock is, or certainly when he was a younger version of himself. I think Spock definitely relaxes as he gets older, certainly in the movies, doesn't he? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? He's logic, logic, logic. I remember that line from one of the films. He's like, stop talking about logic. There's more to, thinking than logic.
Hmm.
Which is like so shocking for someone like Spot to say. But yeah, it's kind of makes sense. But yeah, so
Yeah, and Worf's kind of you see, like obviously he now has prune juice, and like he definitely mellows and he changes, and by the time he gets with Dax in DS9,
mm,
right, like he develops and he grows, and that's kind of what Grinan is saying. When he's she's saying, look at him, look how amazing he is.
yeah,
Everybody loves him, and he's respected, and who cares what the Klingons say, right?
yeah,
We all know the truth.
exactly. Yeah, it was Guinan in this was very cool, very cool. But Guinan's always good,
Always
right?
cool. She's always
Always good.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the main one.
Mm. Yeah, Picard.
Picard. decides to go visit the family home while there's downtime. Um,
Yeah. So
but
yeah,
it starts with Troy talking to her, and he's kind of making the point, look, I'm well, I'm strong, and all this. But you could tell it's Patrick Stewart, right? Great actor. He's put it half-heartedly, right? It's
yep.
kind of, and she's like, why are you going home then? You know, and all this. And she starts throwing back his statements as questions back to himself, and he's like, I hate when you do that.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah, this I think was the best written of the three,
Oh
actually,
yeah. Yeah.
by
Yeah.
far.
You could tell that it was the plot A, and they put the most time into it for
Yeah.
sure.
So I really like the sort of. It was interesting the dynamic with him and his brother throughout. Right.
Yeah.
So should we set? Sorry, I haven't set the scene. Do you want to set the scene? Um,
Yeah. So yeah. So the scene is basically he's deciding to take shore leave. Troy comments that he hasn't taken shore leave in 3 years or something at this point.
hmm,
And obviously, what's happened? He's in recovery. He's in therapy. Physically, he's better, but like obviously, mentally, maybe
yeah.
not yet.
I
Although
think
he says he
Troy
is.
says something like, "Well, those are the wounds. My wounds are healing." He goes, "Well, the wounds we can see are healing."
Yeah. Yeah.
She makes
Exactly.
that point.
She says, "Look, you do need a holiday. Where are you going?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going to my hometown in France." And she's like, "Really? Like odd choice, but okay." He's like, "Oh well, there's nothing wrong with going home, like And so there's a
I'm with
she's
him. I didn't understand why she thought that was an odd choice. I've got to be honest.
well,
Maybe for him it's
so
an
I
odd
think that
choice,
gets
right?
revealed at the end, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
he's looking for something in particular, and he can only find that at home, right?
yeah.
And then so yeah, he obviously goes home, decides to walk, doesn't take the shuttle, which is okay, fine.
Yeah,
He
it did make me laugh. I was thinking, how did he walk? Where did he walk from? When we first see him walking up the drive, it's like,
yeah,
where's he exactly? Has he walked from? What's going on here?
yeah.
But yeah,
Because
he's
then they
walked from
say
the
yeah,
village, I think,
some town or
basically.
village or
Yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He meets his nephew for the first time because it's revealed very quickly that he's been away from his home village for 20 years. So this is
Wow,
not.
yeah.
It's been 20 years since he's been home, and yeah, he meets his nephew for the first time, and then he meets
And they have a
his
chat, don't
sister-in-law.
they? They have a chat
They have a
and
little chat.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's being a
Uh,
smart ass basically, and
Yeah, yeah. And then his sister-in-law Marie,
again,
Samantha Egger in this, very good. It was good to see
yeah,
her. You don't see her in too much. She's more a movie. She was more in movies. So it was quite good to see her in this.
yeah. Interesting line from that is, "It's nice to finally meet you." So he's never met her in real life either.
Yeah, but
This
they
is the
do reveal later that there was correspondence, wasn't there?
Yes,
She's
yeah.
been
There's
writing to him.
been correspondence, but they've never met in person.
Yeah.
And yeah, his house. She says, "Oh, has it changed that much?" And he's like, "Well, eerily, nothing has changed at all. I remember everything, the bushes, the house, everything's exactly as it was." And she says, "Oh, well, that's how." What's his name? Renee?
Robert. Oh, the
Robert.
son is Rene.
Yeah,
He's Picard's brother is Robert. His
Robert.
older
Yeah,
brother is Robert.
and Picard says, "Oh, that's eerily like how my father liked to keep it too."
Yeah, and you
Um,
do find out Robert is a big follower of his father's line of thinking,
yes.
which it sounds like there was always conflict between the father and John Luke compared to
Yeah.
as well, and Robert has kept that, because John Luke hasn't. I keep wanting to say Picard, but you can't hear because they're all Picards, right? So Jean Luc
Yeah. Yeah.
has gone his own way, and Robert obviously does not approve, or at least superficially, that's the superficial part of the conflict. We find out other things later on. Why
Mm.
Robert's kind of angry at him all the time. Um, and it starts with the wine, doesn't it? You know, you're used to the synth alcohol. You want the real stuff. And
Yes,
all
yeah, they're
that
having
sort of-
wine. Obviously, the main thing the Picards have is the vineyards,
yeah. And
and
Robert's actually working on a vine, and he's sort of saying, "This one's ill, sick. I need to work on it," which is obviously an allegory of Picard, right?
mm-hmm. Yep,
And now he's internally, right? So yeah, let's
yeah,
give him a
and
bit
he
of
needs to
us.
fix it.
Mm.
And yeah, you quickly like surmise the difference between cooking's a dying skill. That's your wretched technology,
Oh
which is
yeah, he
sort
hates
of
technology. Yes.
yeah. He doesn't. I don't know if it's that he hates technology. It's that he
He hates
hates
losing the old.
convenience.
Well, he hates losing the old ways of doing things. It
Yeah,
sounds
I think
like
he
that.
dislikes convenience. Right, that's something he says is that there's in a life that's already convenient enough or too convenient, adding more convenience on top makes you
Yeah.
a dullard. Basically, is
Yeah,
kind of thinking.
he's not happy. But there, basically, as it goes on, we kind of find there's obviously there's antagonism there, and John Luke's trying to kind of put up with it, but you know,
Yeah,
he's
he
getting a bit
skirts around
needled,
it.
isn't he? He's getting a bit needled.
Hmm.
Robert is kind of what happened to you, and all that. There's also and there's lots of things like father always had it this way, and we should try and stick to that and all that. And John Luke's like, well, should we? Uh,
Yeah, and
uh,
also another interesting one is the nephew is like, I'm going to be um a captain
of
like
the
you are
starship
one
one
day.
day, yes,
And I wrote this paper on your starship, and I won a ribbon and all this stuff. And when the nephew leaves, Robert says to Picard, oh, Jean-Luc, sorry, it's hard enough to protect him from everything that's out there without you sort of encouraging him.
yeah,
And Picard sort of, says, I'm not encouraging him. He's doing what he wants.
yeah. I haven't been here.
um,
How can I encourage him?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
um,
So
there's
Robert's
also
pushing his buttons the whole time,
oh
basically.
yeah, Roberts. Now it's kind of interesting. This actor, Jeremy Kemp, really solid actor. Lots of film and TV. Often plays like a German, or in
Hmm.
war films, things like that. He's kind of got that granite like, you know, hard, that sort of face.
A German
You know,
face.
well,
No, I don't.
no,
What do you
it's
mean?
kind of a proper stoic, hard man.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of that feel. But
Hmm.
he's also a very good actor, and it's kind of interesting to watch him working in this. It always makes me
Yeah.
laugh that these two are so British, but they're French.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's always a bit of a joke, isn't it? Jean-Luc Picard, the most English Frenchman you'll ever meet. And
Yeah.
I'm just remembering some of the jokes when he started, like people said, "Wow, well, he's clearly not a Frenchman. A French captain would surrender to the first tribble."
Oh,
And things like there's plenty of
yeah.
that. There was all that sort of stuff, but it is funny.
Yeah.
It's like, why did they make him a Frenchman when it's Patrick Stewart? But
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. We're all used to it, right?
Yeah.
But it's also his brother is also really British.
Yes. Yeah.
um,
And they leaned into it. The nephew's super British. Like they were just like, yeah, they're
yeah.
British, but they live in France. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Presumably they're really talking French, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knows? I don't really know.
Yeah.
Anyway, this basically first thing he gives us one is saying, "Is this the 46?" He goes, 47. Your pallets, your sorry, your palette is not is incorrect. It's all that. Basically, he's
Hmm.
criticizing him, sort of saying you haven't been around, so you're losing track of it. But then it sort of escalates into, yes, I always you love a parade, don't you, and all this kind of stuff, and sort of saying
That's right, yeah. Because the
it
mayor comes out, doesn't it? It
yeah,
comes out that the mayor wants to throw a
yeah.
parade for him and give him
Yeah,
keys
he
to
goes,
the
"Oh, you
town.
love a
And
parade." He goes, "I'm not interested in that rubbish." He goes, "Oh, don't give me that. You always were." And you feel like the young Picard. We know a bit about the young Picard, right? He weren't the same as the Jean-Luc we
yeah, we know he
know. Get
was.
into fights and stuff, right?
Yeah,
So we know all that. So yeah, you feel, but it's almost like now he realizes how after the Borg stuff, maybe, or just being older, he's like he's not interested in any of that anymore. There's also this subplot about this guy comes and sort of talks to him about we really could do with someone on this project in the Atlantis. So you feel like Picard, and it's not referenced in the script as far as I can remember, but Picard might be. Well, at least I won't run into the Borg if I do this.
Maybe, yeah. So
Maybe,
yeah,
maybe
that comes out that they're working on
an
under the
under,
water, right? It's
yeah, a
still
special project.
undiscovered. You know, obviously the Earth's oceans are ridiculous, and it comes out that it's still undiscovered. There's
Yeah,
things that they can do.
yeah.
They're trying to figure out how to handle the various
And Picard just
pressures.
comes up with a few ideas. It goes, "Oh, I need to
Yeah,
find when we did this on a certain planet, we used this tech and stuff like that." And
and he'd been keeping tabs on the project
yes, he's
while
kind
he's
of
been on the ship, so
interested.
he's kind of interested from like a intellectual level anyway, and an interest.
And then the
So
bloke's
when the
like,
guy
"Why don't
brings,
you come talk to us?" He goes, "I didn't agree. What are you talking about? Preliminary for what?" You know, he's kind of not offended, but it's kind of a bit nonplussed about all this. And he goes, "We could use someone like you in all this." So which get
Mhm.
then he starts. Could I do that instead? Should I maybe move on? Uh,
Yeah,
but in the
and
end,
then
he's
he
like,
says,
"No, I'm going to Starfleet."
yeah, he says to his sister-in-law, he says, she says, "What's the matter?" And he's like, "Oh, something terrible." And so I'm actually considering taking the job and leaving Starfleet, which I never thought I would do.
Yeah,
Right, which is an interesting like thing, right? Like you say, he you know, is it because of the Borg? Is that why he's considering this? Or is you know
yeah,
he's just not the same, right? It's
It-
obviously affected him,
yeah,
and he might not have believed it until that moment,
yeah.
right? He might actually have think I'm fine, and until he sat there going, actually, maybe I don't want to go back in the stars, which is obviously everything is against what he's been.
Yeah, yeah. And and meanwhile, Robert is still pushing his buttons, and
Hmm.
he offers him some more to drink, and saying, this isn't like a synthy alcohol. It's your inhibitions will come disappear."
Yeah.
And Picard's just having a drink, and he goes, "I'd like to see that John Luke with no inhibitions. That would be interesting." Then they start really arguing, don't they? Basically, it starts with this. Oh, I don't like a parade and all this sort of stuff. They're out in the fields. Is it raining? No, it isn't raining,
Nope.
is it? But it has been
Nope.
raining, right? It's muddy.
Yep.
And then basically they start having a fight. It's a very male thing, right?
Yeah. He
Instead
says,
of
"Did you
arguing,
come?"
have a
He says, "Yeah. Did you come?" Uh, are you jealous? Have you been, Picard's like, "Have you been jealous of me?" And he's like, "Yeah, of
yeah,
course. Like you've
watching
been
you all
the
this while I've done
valedictorian.
this.
You were this. You were that. You flaunted all the rules, but you won everything. Everybody loved you. I was always second fiddle. I always followed the rules.
I
Set
did
up by my
yeah,
father.
you broke the rules and nobody cared. I followed what our father said, but you got away with it. That's
Yeah,
the resentment going on,
and
right?
yeah, and I always had to look after you. I had to follow the rules and look after you because that's what older brothers do.
Yeah.
And um, you know, even though what's happened, uh, he was like, "Well, you were a bully to me," and he was like, "Yeah, maybe I was a bully now and again.
And he said maybe I enjoyed it even.
Maybe I even enjoyed it, but you deserved it, And did you come all this way home to for me to look after you again?" And then that's when Picard takes a swing at him, right?
Yeah. And they start fighting and it turns
Old
into
man
a thing
fighting.
of old man fighting in the mud. There's mud everywhere. And at this point, John Luke really lets go and sort of says that, I couldn't stop it. They made me do things I would never have done if I could have stopped it. And I just wasn't good enough to stop it.
Yeah, I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't good
Uh,
enough.
well, first they start laughing, don't they? Because they cover in
Yeah,
mud, and then is when he breaks down, which is great. Great piece of acting from both.
yeah,
Really, and the whole scene setting, them covered in mud, it just adds to it. It's just a really strong scene, isn't it? It's
yeah,
a really
yeah.
strong
It's
scene.
really good. Yeah, and they're both head to toe, and like you say, they're laughing, and then it turns into crying,
Yeah,
which hits
and he's
really
and
well.
yeah, and the brother's like, ah, Jean-Claude is human after all, like the rest of us.
Yeah,
Um, and then he says, well, this thing that's happened to you is going to take a long, long time to get over. Whether you're up there in the stars or under the ocean, you're going to have to live with it and get used to it.
yeah.
And yeah, that
You need to
helps John Luke,
choose.
right?
Yeah,
That
he's like,
helps
you
him.
need to choose where you're going to deal with it, but no
Yeah.
matter where you go, it will follow you.
Yeah, it's interesting that he makes the point, John Luke, he makes the point that it's not just the fact he couldn't control it and you know, he was powerless against what they was doing to the Borg was doing to him. He was also guilty about the people that he got killed, you know,
Yeah,
by his actions. So it's this powerful combination of feeling guilt
yeah. I
about
killed
people
them.
dying
I
and
wasn't strong
also
enough.
not
Yeah,
being able to resist them. And it comes down, if I could have resisted them, people wouldn't have died, basically.
yeah,
And that's what's tearing into him. Um, and it's
yeah. And it
interesting we
was
see
yeah,
that rage. I mean, basically, this is the despair. It's you know, there's what is it? 5 stages of grief. It's kind of he's in the despair stage here. First, it was kind of denial. Now it's and then later on in the Star Trek universe, we see the rage, don't we? We see the
yes,
anger
yeah, yeah.
about it all.
In the
So that's kind
holodeck
of
with the Tommy
interesting.
gun.
Well, there's all sorts. I was thinking of in First Contact, really. I was thinking
Well,
of
yeah,
that.
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the
Oh
whole
yeah,
of
yeah,
First
it was in there.
Contact,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much.
Yeah,
But yeah,
sorry. The holodeck stuff, you know, there's so
yeah,
much
yeah.
of that.
There's so much of
Um,
that.
yeah,
But yeah, it's a really powerful scene of somebody who, as far as we have seen throughout the whole series, has been competent, strong, very few flaws, right?
yeah, very
And he's
effective.
and
Yeah,
he's sat, in the mud crying about how he wasn't strong enough and how he did everything he could and it still wasn't enough and people died and it has affected him to such a degree, and
yeah,
this character who we hold in such high esteem is just in the dirt at this point. This is like the lowest he is,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
takes his brother to draw it out of him, right?
Yes. And he knows
Which,
how to draw it out of him, right? So
yeah,
first, the episode almost feels like, oh, his brother's just being an asshole. But
yeah, his
there
brother's just
is
an
a
asshole, but
reason for it. There is a reason he's doing this.
so
Even though his own anger about Jean-Luc, you know, getting away with
yeah,
stuff,
there's some
is
real
fueling it.
stuff. Yeah,
There's
exactly.
needling going on. But I just like the fact that a punch up and getting pissed together is the way men resolve these sorts of
How he
things.
resolves it, yeah. and
Uh,
and and it ends rather like a but something I just want to add to the end of his brother's sort of line here is that at the very very end of the episode the nephew is sat looking out to the stars
yeah,
and his wife Roberta's wife comes in, she's like, oh, it's really late, we should let him come in, and he's, Robert's there and he's like, no, 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 let him dream a little.
yeah.
And it's a clear, like, in their own family world, yeah, he doesn't mind that this kid wants to go out to the stars, right? It was a bit
Yeah,
of
it's
a
almost like he's accepted how his brother is, you
yeah,
know, how Jean-Luc is. Um,
and
there's a bit of
yeah,
that.
there's a bit of that, and there's maybe a bit of he was always like that. He'd
Yeah,
always accepted him, and like, of course, he'd raise his son the same way. He's got no problems with his son really wanting to be a captain. He still loves his brother no matter what, right? And he'll love his son no matter what. Um, Yeah, it was a nice little thing just to add. By the way, he's not a complete dick. Like, he's obviously
yes,
got his strong opinions about stuff, but like, he's not an asshole. He's a
yeah.
good dad and a good brother, which I liked. I liked that. It was important. I think, at least for me.
Yeah, there was some great scenes with Patrick Stewart and Jeremy Kemp. well, the whole family dynamic. It was really cool.
It felt
Um,
real too, right? Like
yes,
it
it
felt like
did.
real family issues.
You kind of got where Jean-Luc came from. Um, Especially if you've watched the rest and you find out what it was like when he was younger and stuff like that. It all kind of makes sense. None of it rings inauthentic, does it? That's the thing. It all
No,
feels like real. Um, Very
yeah,
solid episode.
yeah,
I'm not
I
sure how
like it.
this is rated in the community, but yeah, it's up there. It's a very memorable episode. I know that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, it's up there, and why? Yeah, it's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it because I think I don't know how rated it is. I don't really look at those things, but I just know that those previous episodes are obviously everybody talks about, and they must do because it's like my favorite things. But I love this episode. I always look forward to this part of
Yeah, yeah.
the watch through because
This is
it's
a key episode for Picard's journey through Star Trek. If you're
yeah,
following the specific characters, there are key episodes that some for Riker and so on. But this is an essential. This and Best of Both Worlds, Best of Both Worlds, and this are both essential to get the full Picard sort of trajectory throughout Star Trek.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. But of course, Best of Both Worlds is a Riker episode, but we'll talk about
Well,
that
that is too, but it's
when we
also
get to
it's
it.
yeah. Best of Both Worlds is more about what how it will affect Picard. So yeah, you are quite right. It's not
Mm.
so much his character change; it's his character change from the events in Best of Both Worlds, right?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I can't wait to
Um,
talk about that one. That'll be a good one.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. So I really like this, and then the end of the episode, obviously, it's got Picard walking with purpose again, which you don't realize throughout the whole episode. He's kind of been meandering.
Yeah, which starts the first discussion with Troy. You can tell he's at half energy, right, when he's
Yeah,
talking to her.
yeah. He's
Uh,
distracted, right, or
Yeah.
something.
Well,
But
he's
then,
just not being his usual self, saying, "Oh,
yeah,
I'm strong," but it sounds like that doesn't sound like
and
him.
then the end of the
Um,
episode, he's got purpose. He's walking off back the way he came.
yeah,
He
and
tell
that's
her
where,
he's like, he gets arrives back on the Enterprise. Says hello to O'Brien or whatever. Meets Worf's parents on the way out,
yeah.
and has a little smile to himself and
Wow,
walks back. And you're like, we're
we're
back,
back,
baby.
we're back, we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a good. I mean, Patrick Stewart knocked this out of the park.
Oh yeah.
As
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
Jeremy Kemp, I'd say. Actually, I think they were
Yeah.
both
Yeah. Yeah.
solid, and it kind of worked. It felt genuine, like you said. It kind of just worked, didn't it?
Yeah.
So very, very solid episode. Really only effective if you've seen quite a bit of Star Trek Next Gen. I'd also say because it's quite a good character piece to watch anyway, but it will be much more meaningful to you if you've watched, the first three seasons, really.
Yeah,
Um,
and yeah, that's it. I think that's the other thing I love about TNG. Like, you've got the inter-crew relationships and the character growth there, but like meeting their like family adds another layer of reality to these people,
yeah,
and you care about them more, right? When
yeah, we understand Worf a little more
we
as well,
understand
right?
him, yeah, right. It's like a glimpse behind the curtain of this like hard stoic
Yeah,
soldier essentially, right? And he never brings his personal life into anything, and it's just thrown at him, and we get to see that.
yeah.
And it does take a layer off him, right? It takes a layer of cool off Worf a little bit.
Yeah, I do like those episodes with Wolf and I can't remember the one he has Alexander, the woman he fathers Alexander with, right?
Oh yeah, where he's the worst dad
I
of all
think
time.
that is yeah, but those episodes are really interesting for Worf's journey, right?
Yeah,
Her interaction with him and how uptight he is compared to her, and we get a little more relaxed, but we get some similar elements in Deep Space Nine with Dax, right? So, yes,
that reminds me, dude, is Alexander in DS9? He's not, is he?
yes,
He is.
brief, yes, he is, and they are the interaction is a bit. It's not clean. Well, it's not. There is issues,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Well,
because
which
he
there
just
would
ignores
be
him for
because
years.
Worf kind of pushed him away because it was
Yeah, yeah.
because of the issues he was going with, he didn't want to be his son to be associated with dishonor kind of
That's
thing.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
he definitely is. Yeah, yeah,
It's an
yeah.
interesting, yeah, interesting
Yeah, we'll
family.
get to
Because
some of those.
yeah, we will.
Maybe we should pick one character. Nah, that would take too long. I was going to say pick one character and just follow their art, but that would take about
Mm.
25 episodes or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to do that. So
Yeah,
maybe.
this episode as well was brutal with its time. It was like we're gonna get a tiny bit of Geordie, but like he's just here to talk about it's again it's in the Worf story because his dad really wants to see the ship. He's got schematics of the Galaxy class, and
Yeah,
it's like hinted, oh, he's just here to see the ship. He doesn't really care, but obviously he cares more about Worf. Obviously,
yeah, yeah.
he's
Um,
just
he's also
hyped.
interested in the ship. You can't blame him. He says, "I've got
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
schematics and all this kind of stuff." But
Uh,
yeah, yeah, good
no
solid
doubt.
episode. Really enjoyed rewatching this. But as I say, I think I've never really forgotten this episode. This is probably maybe the fourth time I've watched it, fifth time. But it's one of those ones you just don't forget. There's maybe 10 or 15 next gen ones which I just totally remember. Don't
Mm.
remember almost every element of it, and most of them you remember bits and you remember the main stories, but you don't remember the scene by scene necessarily, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
will say, I think this is the first time I've watched it out of order,
oh
like just
right,
randomly watched
yeah,
it.
I
You know, 'cause you watch these three episodes, they're kind of just like back to back to back, like they're all so good.
yeah.
And
Me too, me too. But I think I'm
yeah,
comfortable enough with rewatching that I just know where I'm at already. I
yeah,
don't have to orientate. That's kind of why I was sort of saying, you'll enjoy this, but you need to watch some of the earlier ones to really
yeah,
get it.
exactly.
Um,
Like I think some of the power with TNG at least is that, and all of Star Trek, generally speaking, other than DS9, let's just say TOS and TNG, the power of those series in particular is that you can kind of airdrop into any episode, and it's kind of
yeah, yeah,
true episodic, coherent. But this episode and any of the ones with the continues, but like this episode doesn't have that, but you do need to know what's going on a little bit.
yeah.
I
Oh yeah,
think
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's kind of core.
All right, I think. Just any final thoughts? Shall we wind it up?
I think so. I think it is. It's probably I love it for like a almost a series reset level. You're ready for a new adventure come season 4, and TNG's firing on all cylinders in season 4. We've had great. It's just an awesome midpoint, and like you said, the performances in this episode, particularly from his brother, um, and Patrick Stewart, so
You
good.
know what? Thinking about this, I remember Best of Both Worlds and this one way more than I remember the actual finale episodes of TNG. I could barely remember those, but
Really?
Best of Both
That's
Worlds and this
interesting.
I remember much more strongly. It's just occurred to me, right? I'm very strong on season one of Next Gen, and then particular
Right.
episodes. There's particular episodes I really like throughout the series, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But almost all of season one I remember quite strongly, and these three I remember way, as I say, way more than the very end. I remember Encounter at Farpoint way better than the last episodes.
Interesting.
Weirdly, yeah, weird, isn't it?
It is a bit weird.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like the last episode a lot, but
yeah,
I
I
get
just
it.
can barely remember it. That's
Yeah. We should
maybe we
watch it
need
again
to
soon.
do that sometime. It's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I remember now, and
I feel
or
like,
maybe
yeah.
not. Yeah, I think because I tend to watch it in one massive strip. I just
Hmm.
watch and watch and watch. By the time you get to the end, it's like more. Not that you're fed up with it. It's more like it all kind of fades into one long episode eventually. You just
Yeah.
remember bits. Riker's playing his trombone. There's a game of poker. Things like
Yes.
that.
Yeah, and the last episode is long, right? It's like
Yes,
it is an epic episode,
I
so
do remember
a
the
lot
poker.
happens.
Poker in it. That's what I remember.
That's like literally that's the last scene.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's wind up this episode. So to all our listeners, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.